So I'm trying to tie it all in here so you can see how it works. About a month ago, I had the opportunity, or a month and a half ago, I had the opportunity to nominate Dr. Roberts to receive recognition by my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, at our 69th Western Province Council meeting. But Dr. Roberts was one of 7 people being recognized. But his comments so moved the organization that we call the Silhouettes of the wives of members of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, that they're now thinking of creating a service award for members of Kappa Alpha Psi who provide support and service to their wives. Think about his story about his brother-in-law and his brother-in-law's demonstration of love, compassion, and support for his wife who is going through a health crisis in her life, and how the husband in his story, the husband who happened to also be my fraternity, and who I can't even bring tears to my eyes to go back to that. But so inspired the wives to say that our husbands who are dedicated to us, who work with us, who serve and support us and nurture us, much like we saw Rosa Greer doing as we got introduced today, that they want to create an award. So I'm glad you're here to hear that, because that was a decision made this week. So, Dr. Roberts, thank you for your work and work on behalf of the students. All right. Keelan Joseph to be followed by Donna Graham, to be followed by Ben Owens, and actually you all can tell me if that's the right order. I'll let you do that. So Ken, come on. Now, let me say, don't go. Keelan Joseph is the regional coordinator for the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, a regional body of stakeholders, as I understand it, working to address the homeless countywide. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to first of all thank the commission here that assembled this ongoing discussion around homelessness, and also like to thank Brother Greer. He's not here right now, but I was listening to his story and some of the things that he was able to do with the population that we serve. It was very, very humbling to hear. I sit here and I think back, what am I doing? What am I really doing to make an impact? And hearing some of the things that he's been able to do, I can only hope that I can come close to that. But being a part of this discussion is very, very important, because it not only raises awareness around homeless issues, but it also gives us an opportunity to be able to share the resources and familiarize ourselves with the different resources surrounding the population that we serve. LAHSA, as an agency, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, has been providing services to homeless individuals on the streets for the past 20 years, over 20 years. And a part of LAHSA's mission to provide that service is to allocate funding to a number of different programs, a number of different service providers around the county of Los Angeles. And we heard Dashika talk earlier about the county and the city's strategies that they've rolled out in planning and curtailing some of the homelessness on the streets. LAHSA's position is to take a portion of those city and county strategies and become the lead on those strategies to address the concerns of the city and the county and how they can help our homeless population on the streets. I really love being a part of this panel discussion, but a part of the discussion piece is turning that discussion into action. I think a lot of times we talk and we meet about things that we want to get done, and we don't come up with solutions. We talk more about the problems that we have instead of actually being a part of the solution. So a part of being a part of the solution is to familiarize yourselves with the different resources that we have, the different agencies that provide services to homeless individuals, men and women and children on the streets. And this forum is a great opportunity to do that. I'm looking around the room and I see a lot of people in here that I've worked with and I want to work with. And develop relationships to do just that, to couple these resources together. Because so many of our men, women, and children, they fall through the cracks on the streets and in and out of the different services that they're seeking. And I think one of the key factors in that is the miseducation of resources on the streets. I like to tell my homeless individuals, I worked on LASA's ERT team for the past 8 years, working with individuals from the street level, getting them off the streets, into some type of stable housing, and then to the different programs that they could work with to get back into housing. And one of the challenges that we faced is homeless individuals getting turned down and not knowing how to get the resources that they seek. And a lot of times our service providers aren't knowledgeable on the different resources. If one service provider can't help this individual, well, hey, I have another 2 or 3 agencies that I can call and provide you the numbers. Here you are. And that's a part of our education. We have to educate ourselves, and it was very, very great to hear Mrs. Burton speak. And one tidbit of information that I got from that is we cannot count on our government to do the work that we can do ourselves. I think it's going to take each and every one of us to familiarize yourself with the resources and actually to do something, to provide that service to the guy that you see on your street corner or in front of that 7-Eleven who doesn't have anywhere to go. Just providing him some resources or a phone number or a pamphlet or just some words of encouragement. Because sometimes that's what we need to pick ourselves up, and especially dealing with a vulnerable population like the homeless that we see every day. We're faced by a lot of trouble here on the streets within the society that we live in. I mean, our food supply is just depleted. It's non-nourishing. Our systems, our jail systems, and our educational systems for our children is just, I don't want to get too much into that, but we have to do something. It starts in the houses with the parents and bringing up your children, because any one of us can face homelessness. We can find ourselves in the same situations. So a part of what my job here at LASA is to do is to not only bring these services and work and collaborate with different agencies, but it's also to coordinate our homeless count. And the homeless count is it's a census count. It's a now annual census count that LASA puts on, where we count. We do what we call a point-in-time count, where we count individuals on one a span of 3 nights. Where we get a count in different service planning areas on the amount of homeless individuals that we have on the streets. And the numbers are staggering for the SPA 6 and the SPA 4 regions of Los Angeles County. SPA 6 being the southern Los Angeles region right here in Los Angeles, 7,500 individuals homeless on the end of January in 2015 is what we counted here. And that's almost a fourth of the total number that we counted in LA County alone, of 44,000. So we're facing a big task here in addressing these homeless issues, but again, we can't count on our government to curtail some of these problems without us as a people to come together and to help this effort. We have homeless individuals sleeping on the streets and the doors of City Hall, in downtown Los Angeles, Skid Row, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. A lot of times the message does not get assimilated to the proper channels from the streets into the individuals we have sitting behind desks. It doesn't get up to the proper channel. So that's again why we need to be vocal, and we need to do what we can do to be a part of this. And one great way to do that is to be a part of the homeless count. Get out into your community and get these individuals counted that you see on your street corners and you see in front of some of your stores and that you see on your way to work in the morning. And just come together. It's really what it's about. And the homeless count has 4 different components. I won't get too in depth with the homeless count. I don't want to take up too much time, but another vital component of our homeless count is the youth count that we put on in counting our youth on the streets. And I really like to work with one of my focal points when I took this position was to work with community colleges, and not just community colleges, but businesses in and around the city that provide services, and not only provide services to youth, but that have youth who may not self-identify as homeless. So that's very, very important, is seeking out the youth who find themselves in homeless situations in order to bring resources together, to help the students. And it was very, very important to hear the professor say how difficult and how challenging it is for our youth to be in a situation like homelessness and still have to come to school and come to class and maintain a certain level of professionality. If that is what they're into, to get the skills that they need from school. So I again like to thank the committee here, and I really want to work with each and every one of you in here to bring the resources together and not just talk about solutions, but be about solutions. This is an ongoing discussion, but let's turn that discussion into solution-based, concrete plans that we can have that will sustain us in curtailing homelessness on the streets. Thank you.
Any questions?
I've participated in the homeless council in Santa Monica for 3 years. And we see the problem getting more accessible. What does LAHSA and the other agencies do with the information that we gather from the homeless council? First year, we actually walked out in areas of Santa Monica and saw people. The second year, I was team captain. We drove down some alleys and backs of people's houses, and we didn't see anyone. The third year, I helped to dismantle the training room. So can you tell us what actually happens with the statistical counseling we provide in doing the homeless council and how we're helping to resolve the problem?
Absolutely. The data that we collect from our homeless count is not just used to bring awareness to individuals within communities it's not just for bringing awareness to community individuals, but it pushes funding. It drives funding that we need in order to provide services to our homeless men and women on the streets. That's a vital component of the data that we use. And now, as you can see in different spas, it's different in terms of the virility of services in certain areas. So what you see in Spa 5 or Spa 8, you may not see in Spa 6 or Spa 4. Some of our harder areas in need of the assistance. A part of that data that we collect, it does drive funding and also raise awareness as to how we can provide services and education to our homeless individuals and service providers.
Because this authority provides also, let's say I have a long-term concession from mental health. And I have a period of time, like they give me a month or 2 weeks until I have to, as a homeless person, I have to go find this place. Like government is paying $1,300 and I have to go. So I have to go find this place. But I don't have any resources how to go about that. Like you said, to provide these resources. What are those resources?
Yes, there are various resources around LA County who will help you if you don't have transportation in order to get around and look for housing. I know the Department of Mental Health, they're very instrumental with the population that they serve and helping them get to and from. There are different agencies like LAHSA who's able to provide transportation for our homeless men and women on the streets who can't find the transportation for themselves. And also, there are resources in the county for houses specifically.
And they're working with my secret. How do I find those places that they are concessioning?
Right. Well, they're at the Department of Housing within the county. You can get a printout of all resources and all landlords that provide Section 8 to Section 8 individuals who want to get into housing. So there are resources you can look online. There are various resources that you can get, but the printout from the county, from the housing department, is very vital. We give it to our clients, and then they start there. They have to call, call the property owners to see if they'd be willing to set up an appointment to come in and get them into housing for Section 8.
Again, thank you very much.